Welcome to this edition of Miles Ahead, and you join us on this damp, dark, dank December afternoon to look at something that is anything but dark and damp. This is the wonderful Lamborghini Aventador S. Now the Aventador's been around for sort of 10-11 years. The S was sort of like a midlife revamp of it, and there's also the SVJ above that, which is basically this on speed if you find this to be a little bit slow, which it's not. It's got a naturally aspirated V12 that produces 730 brake horsepower and propels this from 0 to 60 miles an hour in just 2.8 seconds. Now it has four-wheel drive, it has four-wheel steering, so that, you know, makes it very usable as well. You can get that performance down on the road, albeit you might want a nicer day than this. Now the starting price of this car is £271,806. This is fitted with one or two options that bring the price to £365,466. That is inclusive of VAT. The option list was given to me without VAT. I guess if you can afford 365 grand, you might know a workaround for such taxes. But anyway, I've written down some of the key options, and the most obvious one is this blue Dedalo paintwork. I think that looks fantastic on this. It's like a three-stage, so at night it looks more purple. That's £11,000. And whilst we're around the front here, this is the only storage space in the car. As you can see, I've managed to get my coat in there. There's a cover for the car that comes as standard in there as well. I think it's about 160, 170 litres. You can get a weekend bag in there. That's about your lot, really. It is a supercar after all. Another option to mention, so you'll notice on the way around, it's got this lower carbon fibre package around the bottom. That comes in at £17,000. The LED headlights, they come as standard. The wing mirrors, they're part of the carbon fibre package. These wheels, they're Diantus forged silver wheels, so you get the 20 inches at the front, the 21 at the back. I think they look really good on that car. You see those carbon ceramic brakes in there as well. They come as standard. They do have a lot of work to do on this car, but they do it well. We'll get to that on the drive along. Let's just have a quick look at the doors, because they're one of the centerpieces of the Lamborghini, aren't they? The rising doors, they do look the business, and you can see the Aventador tread plate down there that illuminates. Just another nice touch to remind you of what you're driving. Another feature that, if you are fortunate enough to own one of these, is something that you'll be opening a lot, the fuel filler cap. It being a naturally aspirated 6.5 litre V12, it's thirsty. Sounds amazing. We'll get to that on the drive along. It does sound absolutely stunning, but it does drink a lot of petrol. We'll just have a look at that engine while we're talking of it. It looks brilliant. It's presented theatrically. It sounds theatrical. The performance it delivers is absolutely stunning. You notice it's covered with the carbon fibre engine bay. That is a £3,500 extra, and you can see these transparent slats at the top, so you can see through to the engine. If I just close that down there, so you can see straight into the engine there. That's a £5,500 option fitted in there. Now if we come a little bit further back, we can see the triple exhausts at the back, and they just make such a superb sound. You can look at that rear splitter as well. I mean, there's a lot going on. This is a proper performance car. I mean, you could easily be lulled into thinking that this is something of a show pony, but it absolutely isn't. I mean, there's plenty of substance to back up the style as well. You might notice it's on Italian plates, but it's right-hand drive. It's going back to Italy next week, so I think this will be the last time this car gets reviewed in the UK, so there's something. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, it just looks otherworldly. It looks like you'd want a Lamborghini to look. It sounds like you'd want a Lamborghini to sound, and it drives like you'd want a Lamborghini to drive, most importantly. And with that, probably time to have a look inside. So, this is what it's like inside the Lamborghini Aventador S. There's a couple of optional extras in here. You've got the carbon fibre inlays, you've got this leather throughout as well, and you've got the Lamborghini logo embossed in there. And while we're down here, let's have a quick look at the glove box. You could maybe get a couple of CDs in there. Back behind here, so this is where you get to open the engine bay bit, but there's a little bit of storage down here. You could get, you know, maybe a jacket back there or something. There's a bit of netting to hold a couple of other bits in there as well, and there's a cup holder as well, always useful. And in terms of other storage space, if we come round here, this is your lot. I managed to get some chewing gum in here. That's pretty good. There's a USB charging point there and a 12-volt battery thing there. Right, we'll just start it up. So you've got to flip this lid up there, so you know. does sound good, doesn't it? It does sound good. There's not really a great deal to say about this. It's actually got quite a good stereo, but it is a very loud car to drive, so you're not always listening to that, and that V12's enough music for anyone. When we come up here, like you see things with the sat nav and everything, it is a bit old hat. It could probably do with a bit of a refresh, but again, you're not buying a Lamborghini Aventador for the infotainment system, and everything's easy to use down here. You change your driving modes here, so you've got Strada, into Sport, and then into Corsa for the full race mode. So if you want to get it purring, you can from there, and you'll never get bored of doing that, believe me. Binacle up here, everything's very usable. You're very low down here, and it does feel like quite a wide car from this angle, but I mean, it's got presence, and you know it's a special car when you're driving it along. The number of people who look over, if you don't like people looking at you, this is definitely not the car for you. It is not incognito in the slightest. But other than that, I mean, it's very easy to use. You've got power steering and all that jazz. It's not too intimidating a car to get behind the wheel of. And to open the doors, there's a button down here. You push, you lift the lid, and then you force the door open like that. But this car will only ever really be judged on the strength of one thing, and that's what it's like to drive. So, what's the Lamborghini Aventador S like to drive? Well, let's start with that engine note. You would expect a 6.5 litre naturally aspirated V12 engine to sound the business, and this undoubtedly does. Away from that though, it's actually a surprisingly easy, smooth, pliant car to drive. I mean, you can hear the bumps and the divots in the road, the potholes and all that sort of stuff. We're not on a great bit of road at the moment. I mean, it is very rigid. It is a supercar. I mean, that's the way it is. But I mean, I must admit, when I first got in it, when I picked it up from Lamborghini, their service centre in Acton, the guy said to me, "Don't be intimidated by it. It's just a car. It's just a car." I was like, "Yeah, that's all right. I've driven cars before. I've been very lucky to have driven other supercars as well." But there is something intimidating about it. There's no question. I mean, it is an outright savage of a car, and it just picks up so supremely as well, and it just keeps running and running and running. I mean, there's far too much power to use legally on the road, but it is also alarmingly easy to get that power down as well. And as you can tell, I mean, it's very loud in here. It really does. It gets going, and it's, there's a real sense of theatre to it, and that's what's absolutely fantastic about this car. I mean, from the moment you look at it to the moment you start it up to the moment you start driving it, it's just pure theatre, this car, the whole time. And you just aren't going to get bored of listening to that engine ever. And we'll try and get the down bangs in there. Just burbles and pops and bangs the whole time, and it's really impressive. I mean, I did think, there's a preconception about these cars, isn't there, because of the settings you see people driving them. You see the rich kids driving them around Knightsbridge and that sort of thing, and you could be easily lulled into believing that this car is nothing more than just a very expensive show pony. But actually, I think, from the driving we've done, we're going to have covered the best part of 600 miles in this car by the time we're done with it, so we've been using it daily. And doing the commute to work in it, that was when it's at its worst. I mean, that really is when it's at its worst. It's quite uncomfortable, it's quite unforgiving, it's noisy, it's a bit jerky in traffic. It definitely, you are constantly horizon hunting and looking for the next bit of open road, and then, you can just bring that gearbox into play and let it sing. And that's really what this car's about. And it's just, as a performance car, I've been absolutely blown away with it. Like I said, I was expecting it to be, a bit of a show pony, style over substance really, but wow, is there some substance to this car. I mean, the handling's brilliant, the steering's really well judged, nicely weighted, you can really thread it through corners, plenty of traction to work with. I mean, it's a damp, cold December day, you just put it into corners and there's more traction than you'd ever dare to believe there is. I mean, it's really is quite something. And then off the line as well, I mean, it'll do 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. Not been able to push that too much just because of the way the conditions are. The traction isn't limitless, it's not a miracle machine. But yeah, once you get out onto an open road, everything just starts to make sense. It really does. It's a sort of uncomfortable, ungainly car in an urban setting. yeah, why you'd want to just poodle around Knightsbridge in one, I've got absolutely no idea. Those boys want to get themselves down of London, down the A3 and start hitting up the open roads, because this thing is just extraordinary. I mean, the pickup at any speed as well, just remarkable. So even on the motorway, cruise along, you get slowed down to like 50, 60 by people changing lane, other traffic on the road and that sort of thing, and then you can just, boom, put the right foot down, and there's just so much power there the whole time, and then you get the noise and the theatre and everything else. One thing I will say though, from driving it on the motorway, is if you don't like being looked at, this isn't really a car to get, but you will get a lot of attention in this car as well. Another thing you will do a lot of as well is visit the local petrol station, because this is a thirsty beast. I reckon we must have been getting about 13 miles to the gallon, if that, on this drive. I drove it on Friday night. I drove it from my house up to near Burton-on-Trent, 150 mile drive. It used £70 worth of high octane petrol, which is you know, it's going to hit your wallet, isn't it? But then again, I say it's going to hit your wallet, I'm talking about it from my financial means. If you can afford 365 grand, I don't suppose 70 quid on petrol's that much of a big deal, is it? Your other running costs, obviously got the bespoke Pirelli tyres, they're not going to be cheap, servicing, all that sort of stuff. But I mean, do you really care if you can afford one of these? Doesn't really matter, does it? That's not what you're in the game for. Let's just keep coming back. I mean, I've been surprised at how easy this car is to drive. And like I say, I picked it up in Acton. My first drive is to where I work in Richmond, so just driving through West London, not ideal. Then I did the commute home from Richmond to Walton, and yeah, it's just roadworks the whole way. It wasn't great, but I mean, it wasn't that bad either, actually. It was surprisingly pliant. I mean, on the longer journeys, where it comes back to bite you a little bit is a lack of storage space in here. There's just nowhere to put your bits. But you know, I think I'd approach it expecting more of a GT car. I don't know why. That's completely on me. That was stupid. I was naive. This is an outright supercar. It really is. And just when you find the open road, when you get the opportunity to drop it down the gears and just listen to it sing, I mean, it just transports you. I mean, you forget about not only the foibles of the car, but you forget about all the other worries in the world. It just takes you to somewhere completely different. It's amazing. It's like a teleportation device in that respect. You know, it's difficult because it's so focused on performance, this car. It's, you know, you like I said, I mean, I guess I got drawn into thinking, oh, it's lacking a couple of the luxury comfort touches you might expect, but the seats aren't exactly uncomfortable. I did a 3-hour drive back on the motorway in it. It was fine. You know, I was expecting it to sort of rattle my teeth out of my head. It didn't. It was fine. It's a comfortable enough car, but it's just because it's not the sort of car you would daily, because that's ridiculous. But obviously, because I've only had it for 6 days, I have used it every day. You know, when you use it and you get absolutely the right time and the right setting and the right conditions, I mean, it's absolutely blown my hair back, this car. Well, what's left of my hair anyway. It's been absolutely brilliant, and it's just that jaw-dropping performance, and you will never ever get bored of listening to that naturally aspirated V12. It's a work of wonder. And you know, if you have got one and you're lucky enough to own one and you've got the opportunity to take it on a track day, do, because it would be unbelievably good. It's more substance over style, bizarrely, and I was expecting it to be completely the other way round. And yeah, I mean, in the right setting, you just fall for this car's chance. Well, we'll have one more listen because we can. Because I omitted them actually. The brakes, carbon ceramics, absolutely superb, as you would expect, as they need to be. And yeah, just that engine note, the performance, and the accelerator's so easy to modulate as well. The steering's really good. I mean, from a driver's perspective, absolutely brilliant, absolutely superb, stunningly good car to drive, engaging, loads of traction, couple of rough edges in terms of like the infotainment and that sort of stuff, but you're not buying one of these for the infotainment system. You're buying it for that engine, the performance, you know, the substance it delivers to your driving experience. And I've probably been waffling on a bit too long now, but as you can tell, I've been very impressed with this car. I feel very lucky to have had it for a week. It's a fantastic car, and don't be fooled into thinking that it's just a show pony poser's car. It is so much more than that. It is an absolutely immense car. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it. Please also consider... I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it. Please also consider subscribing. We've got loads of videos on the channel. We've got loads more coming up as well. So yeah, we've got a busy couple of months ahead. So yeah, please hit subscribe and hopefully we'll see you soon. Thanks.